How's it going, guys? So just got back from New York, Team Ultra. This was, I mean, it's hard to even put it in words. It was such an amazing experience. Just the people, the entire team. I got to meet people that I've been interacting online with, but then I got to meet new people. I think it's really hard. This entire year has just been an absolute whirlwind for me. I'm so thankful for, my friends and family that have supported this journey. Maybe I'll wait till I get on the trail more. Yeah, so I actually wanted, so you'll notice I'm walking and talking here. So, hey, how you doing, puppy?
Hello.
Hey. Yeah, so I was planning on actually documenting the whole thing with this here camera that I'm talking to, but GoPro apparently doesn't know the reason what a pre-order is. So I pre-ordered with them, and the stick that I'm using to hold this was apparently back ordered. So rather than sending me what they did have, they held onto the order for basically 10 days, which is frustrating because they had a hold on my credit card, and I could have just they wouldn't let me cancel the order. They wouldn't let me modify the order, because I was like, okay, we'll just take off the mount and just send me the rest, because I can go get the mount at my local Best Buy. And they're like, no, it's in the middle of processing. So they wouldn't let me do anything. And then ironically, as I'm probably flying over Iowa, that's when I get my that's when this camera lands on my front porch. So a little bit of a frustrating situation there, but I think everything happens for a reason. Maybe if I had this, I wouldn't have done as well in New York. Very happy with the results. I was going for 3:08 time in the marathon, because that would basically get me into Boston, probably. My time is actually supposed to be 3:10. My qualifying time is 3:10. And then I think the cutoff this year was 1:48, I think it was. So if I did something if I did 3:08, I would have most likely qualified. I'm still going to be trying to up the ante at Houston and Napa, and probably Mountains to Beach. Yeah, so I ended up sort of, I wanted to try something new. I've always ran all these marathons by myself. I had, I think in San Francisco, I ran with a pace team, and, then we hit the traffic, the second half marathon traffic, and I lost my pace team, and then it sort of got discouraged. I still PR'd that day by I think 13 minutes or so, and San Francisco's not an easy race by any stretch. And so this time I decided to, basically do what the pros do, and have a pace team. Have my own pace team, have my own guys that are basically like the same thing. So Jacob, I got Jacob and Matt from Team Ultra. I sort of kept throwing out feelers and eventually found them. Jacob has done some sub 3 at some point, but he said he hadn't trained all that much, so he was fine with trying to go for 3:08. And then Matt, I want to say that he did a 3:15 or a 3:12 or something like that, and 3:08 was going to be a PR for him. And so we were sailing along till about mile 20, and that's when I started to fall back. A few hills. That's when my pace really started to wane a little bit. Not as bad as previous races where I put down 10-minute miles. I don't think I really have to look at it and kind of do post-mortem on it, but you know, I made a couple moves to stay with them when I had a struggling mile about 17, and then the next 3 miles were fine, and then all of a sudden, like, some hills, and it just didn't happen. So but ironically, literally Matt crossed the finish line at 3:08 on the button. So, you know, had I been, and I knew, my gut told me, if you stay with them, you're going to Boston, and I just couldn't. You know, I tried to make a move, but then it was like, it was a hill, so I just couldn't keep up with them. But, you know, I'm happy about, you know, that they did well. Those are great guys. Love them to death. Christy and Carly were amazing. They were like jacked up with Mountain Dew, man. They were high energy everywhere. It was awesome. I got to meet Ernie. I think he's at, I'll put Instagrams, their handles on it if you want to follow them, because they're great people. Ernie unfortunately didn't finish. That's really a bummer. Just, you know, but you just hate to see that. You travel all the way to New York and then have, you know, a catastrophic failure like that. It's, you know, my heart goes out to him. I feel bad. He handled it better than I did. I probably would have cried for like an hour and a half. Yeah, so, you know, I just had such a great time with everyone. I think, you know, if you have an opportunity to be on Team Ultra, you should definitely put in for that. Oh, shout out to Rick. I don't know last names off the top of my head. I'm still like post marathon brain. He gave me the hot shot, which is essentially a thing that stops you from cramping, and it's, if you don't mind spice, it basically tricks your body into not cramping. So it tastes kind of like cayenne pepper and like pineapple. So I wanted to actually, my strategy originally was to, I was gonna have about 3 of them, and I was gonna have one before the race, one during the race at some point. I was saying mile 20 if I didn't need it, but I ended up thinking, I think I took it at 18, because I think Matt and Jacob were still with me. I started getting a little poke in the glute, and, you know, then that sort of put an alarm bell on me, where I was like, hey, this has happened before. It usually starts there and then goes to your it goes to my hamstring. So it starts in the glute, then goes to the hamstring. So I took it there instantly, not instantly, but, you know, within probably 60 seconds. You know, it's hard to always gauge time frame when you're running for 3 hours and 15 minutes. You know, what is 60 seconds seems like it's like 2 hours sometimes. Yeah, so it was relatively short amount of time, and really didn't have the cramping issue, which historically the last 2 races that I've had, I start to get little pokes, little twitches in my hamstring, and I of course back off because I don't want a catastrophic failure. You know, I don't want to be, you know, so big fan of hot shot. I think that hot shot that really worked. So if you got a chance, you're having problems with it, definitely something to look into. See what else. So yeah, New York in general, I've never been there, and that place is intense, man. They're like everything is amped up to 11. Like the TV shows don't lie. When it's like you got a deli and it's like, hey, you know, back. I mean, I was so tired when I got in for travel. I just didn't feel like going and like reading Yelp reviews and seeing what exactly was around. So I just went and like, okay, there's a McDonald's like a block away. So I walk over there, and like literally like it was like, hey, all these guys crowding around trying to get their stuff. It's like, guys, like being up in the guy's face is not gonna get your food any quicker. But, you know, so I traversed from Newark took the, you know, air train. What else? I took the air train to another train to the subway, and then I took the subway the wrong way because I got all turned around in there. I was able to find it and eventually made it in my room about 7:30 their time, which would have been about 4:30 my time, and I got up at 4 a.m. So I basically traveled for 12 and a half hours on Friday. So I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went on Friday. Honestly, if I were to be selected again, I'd probably come in on Thursday, just because traveling is exhausting. Ideally, if I could, I would come in Thursday, leave Tuesday, because I was not as beat up as I usually am after a marathon. But you know, I kind of was a little gimpy in the morning, and then sitting on the plane on like a 5.5 hour flight, and then another 1.5 hour flight out of Phoenix to Burbank really caused I was limping worse after the flights, let's just put it that way, just sitting there, you know. And then I did luck out on the flight home. I had an aisle seat, and then a lady had the window seat, and then we didn't have anyone in the middle, so that was good. Not so lucky on the way from Phoenix to Burbank. I got the back seat, the one that doesn't recline, and then I got a dude who like hogging everything, man spreading. I mean, it's like, this is already a crappy situation for both of us. Why are you making this worse for me? So eventually I established my dominance, got some leg space. I was like, nah. So let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, overall, Michelob just pulls out all the stops for this thing. I mean, you know, it's hard enough to get into a race, but you know, when you got a heated tent, it's freezing. They got food there for you. They bust us there, which I don't know how long it took, probably 1.5 hours to 2 hours to get to the start line. I kind of sort of got a little bit of a nap, a little bit of downtime, but that, you know, having that out of my mind was a load off, that I just know, yeah, I needed to get down to, you know, onto the bus. Just make sure you get onto the bus before it leaves at 5:45, and you know, you're gonna get to the start line. You know, New York, I was pretty close. Tried to take a lift to Union Station, ended up like missing my shuttle. So then I had to call another lift. I was like freaking out, thinking I'm not gonna make it to the starting line. And yeah, so once I did San Francisco and had the VIP, where it was just like I had breakfast, I didn't have to go in a porta potty and be in a cold like parking lot. It's sort of one of those things where, you know, you can't go back. And you know, so Michelob, it was totally the VIP experience, as best you can as far as, you know, a race goes. We had people from each bus had a person from New York runners, so you had, you know, someone with credentials that actually knows what's going on. That was helpful. Let's see. So the swag was pretty legit. I got this this Zulu mug, which I have my Power Up shake in. I got this, obviously my singlet, or is what Deanna calls it. It's just a tank top. So that, and so funny stories. I put at N8I on it, right? Thinking like, I mean, because that's sort of that's my thing. That's my Instagram handle. It's my Twitter handle. You know, it's always been like that for well over 10 years. So I put that on there, and it's funny because Matt and Jacob both had their names on it, and people were like calling out, "Hey, Matt, Team Ultra, Matt, Jacob," and then like me, they just like, you know, wave, maybe high five or whatever. And I remember one lady, she had like a bullhorn. She was just talking. She goes, "Go N81." So I did think that was funny. That was the only time I heard anyone try to like actually call out. So if I'm on there again, I'll debate whether or not I'm going to do my handle again, or if I'm going to put my name. I might put my name, because that a little extra boost of acknowledgement while you're running is probably, you know, encouragement, underrated factor. So what else? Let's see. So yeah, so this is a recovery run I'm on. This is the Paseos that I typically run on. If you follow me on Instagram, some of this area might look a little familiar. We're not quite on the Santa Clarita Marathon course yet, but we will be soon. So, but yeah, so I'll probably put in like 3 or 4 miles here on the walk. You know, recovery is probably the most important thing, and really, really underrated. You know, I think that was one of the lessons that I kind of learned from the Team Ultra Facebook group, is that, and I think, you know, Christy and Carly and I sort of bonded over that, as far as being coaches and coming from the V.02 Jack Daniels school of thought, you know, in that recovery is probably, not probably, it is more important than your training program, honestly. Like, you have to be active and ready to recover. Otherwise, you know, forget it, man. I mean, runners just don't take it, recovery, seriously, and I think that's probably one of the you know, downsides. You get a lot of people, you know, on Team Ultra that either didn't make it because of, you know, injury or, you know, whatever it be, and, you know, pushing yourself to the point of breaking yourself doesn't do you or anyone else any good.
Morning.
Hey, Bill.
How are you
How's
doing?
it going?
Man?
Hey.
Good.
Bill Miranda. I'm doing a vlog right now.
In Virginia.
This is Santa Clarita City Councilman. So
Off for a walk on this beautiful day in Santa Clarita.
I'm back from New York, so I just did
nice.
the New York Marathon, so I'm recovering.
Fantastic.
Oh, you did it. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Were you pleased?
I did quite well. I was only 6 minutes off from qualifying for Boston. But
You're awesome.
Wow.
almost there.
You're
Good
awesome.
for you.
So yeah.
You can do Boston. We'll sneak in.
All right. Yeah, I'm working on it. I got Houston in January, so I'm doing the runners about.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Good for you.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
So,
Congratulations,
All right, guys.
Nathan.
Nice to
Take
see
care.
you.
see you guys. I didn't know you guys lived over at this part
Yep.
town.
Nathan Imhoff. He is the best.
You heard it from him. All right, guys.
All right, buddy.
Hey. Yeah, so so that's Bill Miranda. He's our city council, one of our city council people here in Santa Clarita. Yeah, so it was funny. I was an ambassador for the Santa Clarita Marathon, and I didn't actually run it. So I'm gonna ask them, see if they can at least give me the shirt. So give me one of those shirts. they you know, if I don't get selected for Team Ultra, I think one of my goals would be to actually win the Santa Clarita Marathon. I think that would be something that would I'd be real happy about. It turned out I would have been, if I got this time that I got in New York, I would have been 6th overall. Definitely, I believe I would have won my division, my age division. I'd have to look. I mean, yeah. Yep. So, yeah, so I think runners don't really take recovery serious. I mean, if there's one thing I learned from my Perform for Life running assessment I did before the San Francisco Marathon, it's basically when you do something like any endurance sport, like running. Whenever you do, you know, any endurance sports, you're going to get imbalances in your body. You know, if you're running, it's going to be probably in your quads and your hamstring. I had hip issues. I took that quite serious in my training program this time around, where, you know, I was doing a lot of the band exercises. I was doing stretching my hip flexors a lot, because, you know, you get over, like your quads get over muscular, over powerful, and you don't have other muscles to counteract it. So you have to work those muscles, you know, with cross training in order to avoid injury. Because what happens is it becomes out of balance. You know, your stride gets out of balance, and it just gets worse if you don't take precautions. So, you know, obviously icing, rolling out, stretching, if you can afford it, one of those massage guns, which that's kind of probably gonna be my next purchase. This was how's it going, guys? Yeah, so I think we're on the parade route, or not the parade route, the marathon route, if I remember correctly. I think it does. It comes through the park that we just went through, and then swoops around here. I think that's correct, because there was a sign last week that said this was going to be shut. This was going to be closed. So, pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah. So, Santa Clarita Marathon. If you don't, obviously, you have a chance to go to New York. Everyone needs to run New York. It's a major, you know, you just can't even compete. I mean, it was funny as, you know, one of these guys on Twitter, his name's iHeartSUV, and I guess he ran the marathon for the first time. So I was chatting with him. I was like, he asked if I ran it, and I said, no, I ran New York. And he's like, oh, what does New York have on Santa Clarita? You know, just like 52,800 more runners. I think Santa Clarita had a little bit of a light year. Last year, I think we had 233 finishers, and this year it was only 144. So, I mean, it's a small race. It's a race that I think you could really PR on. I mean, I think there's 350 feet of elevation change, and the only hill is really in the first mile. So, you know, you swoop around the mall, and then you go up Valencia to Turney, and then it's downhill, and then the only other hills are going either up or over, or up or under a road, because we have paseos. As you can see, like, a lot of people didn't know what a paseo is. It's basically a sidewalk that is not on the side of a road. These are paths that go through our community, so, you know, you can ride bikes safer. It's actually designed to stop suburban sprawl. So if you can see this, you know, you have like different cul-de-sacs, and these sort of go in between them. And what that's designed to do is so you don't have to go around the thing like this, you know, around all the cul-de-sacs to get somewhere, you know. So it's pretty neat. I enjoy it. It's one of those things where you can I can put my headphones on and not worry about traffic. You know, I've been almost hit so many times just even running on the sidewalk. You know, like people looking this way, not paying attention, and, you know, I've almost been run over. So now I don't trust it. Unless you wave me on, I'm gonna probably go around you, because I just don't trust anyone. The last thing I need to do is get hit by a car. So I think that's it for now, at least. So, you know, I don't know if this is going to be usable or not, or how this is going to work, but you know, thought I'd just go and give it a try and see. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to probably cut it down, keep it interesting, but yeah, so thanks for watching. Run positive, guys.